Hi, everybody. Welcome to our tea time. It's nice to see you both again. I'm Tia McCown. I'm founder of the Boots and Wings Project, Caregivers, Solutions and Resources. And we have Leigh Barber, our nurse, with us today, and also Nadine. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me today.
This is just an informal conversation, and we're going to be, as we said, adding people as we go. I have a guest that's going to be coming at the end of January, which I'm excited to share. And she does some work with grandparents who are taking care of grandchildren and vice versa. So that's something to look forward to in the new year, but we still have to get through the holidays. So here we are. The end of 2021, there's still holiday festivities to have. And we still are, as we talked about the last time, sort of reviewing some of the struggles that people have with just the holiday season. And there's four main reasons, at least as a chaplain, that I've identified for grief at this time of year. So one is when somebody is separated from us who has passed, and then somebody who maybe is separated from us geographically, and then somebody who is separated us because of a disease where they're not able to have the same kind of relationship with us that we used to, or there's a new situation related to health. And that creates for us a sense of a loss because the traditions have to change. And then, of course, there's alienation, and sometimes conflict raises its head in families, and people are separated or struggling because of that. So we want to, not have a sort of negative conversation, but we do want to have a conversation about how we address that. How do we cope with that? So do you have any ideas and what you would recommend?
Nadine, you have any? Yeah, I was first going to say that it's interesting, given that we don't want everything to be obviously about the pandemic, but it seems to broom large over all of us. It's made us all have a different sort, or let's say a connection around knowing grief in some ways, one of the four ways in the last year, if not 2 years. And I do think that just to start, for those of us who may have been lucky to date not to have lost the soul to that disease, is just the loss of the time and the regularity of how we do things. And I think one of the we've seen, is all the different ways, audio, visual, virtual, all the ways we're trying to still come up together at that time. And we've known that. We can share those with people.
So do you have some rituals or some things that you do to address grief, Nadine, that work for you and your family?
I actually worked with someone today who Christmas Day is a 1-year anniversary of the passing of her father. And we talked, she wanted to do everything completely different because she just wanted everything different. And so that didn't work. So some things are transitioning and going forward in the same way, and yet there's other ways that are different. And so what we talked about was allowing water out of the dam. So identifying that there is grief to be had and felt, and setting aside time to be able to do that, because then you're allowing that space for the grieving to happen in a controlled fashion, when you can, hopefully have time, I say about an hour set aside, and do about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of letting it all hang out, all that nasty, feeling sorry, feeling lost. And then the next 15, 20 minutes spend relaxing, washing your face, preparing yourself for the day. Plan it so that you have something later on to do that would be soft and gentle, not like go sign a mortgage. Okay. But when you plan that time to allow the space for the grief, I think that it keeps it from building up behind the dam only to flood over the dam in other ways, and in behaviors when we feel stressed out and acting out rather than releasing and allowing it to be in a space that's safe.
Yeah, I definitely like that letting it out in small doses. Being a tea person, I always talk about the teapot, you gotta let the steam out. You have to let that, always be aware that it's there and let it go, as opposed to trying to block it up. And our friend, passing who, Laura Lee, Natalia Volz, who's been passing through
Yes.
grief. She's great with transitions. I'd highly recommend her book, but that she talks about that as well, as that the dangers of, for all of us, of squashing it, because that adds to our stress and our health issues too. So
Yes, and a part of something that happens, I think, especially at this time, is people get really wound up with all their Christmas tasks. It's stressful for all of us when we do that. And if you are in any state of thinking of grief, sometimes, like what Nadine is saying, to even be able to let it out, it's about bringing it down and slowing it down. And people sometimes don't want to slow down because, oh, that's how I'm coping, by staying busy all the time. But you do that sometime until the dam breaks.
yeah, I don't want to slow
Instead
down.
of giving yourself permission to slow it down and
Right.
breathe and say, I need to really cry. What Nadine is saying.
Yeah, but then I'm going to be the devil's advocate. I'm not in control then. I'm not fine. So you're telling me to slow it down, but what I'm not fine. What do we do?
However,
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what the woman said today was she's like, and we talked about maybe touching base as we transition through this conversation to rituals. And I said, coming up with a specific ritual that is significant to that passing and that grief gives the brain a place to put those thoughts, a driver and a behavior that's positive for the loss, as opposed to allowing the train to run off the tracks, like Laura Lee had said, or like the teapot and letting off the steam. You can take steam and it'll turn into power, right?
Right.
You harness it properly. So understanding how rituals, and Tia, you wanted to talk about that, how rituals can actually be something to kind of use as a power to express the grief in a good, positive way.
Yeah. So I've done this with a number of the facilities that I worked with when I was a hospice chaplain, but also it came from sort of my own family and my own grief journey then. So what I do, it sounds like a little thing, but I always write a little note, and it can be either on canvas or paper, and this is to my mom, right? So it just says, it's not even a big deal. She passed in 2013, but it says, hey mom, love you, miss you. And then I do this with other family members, but it's and this is pretty, like, it's a low tech kind of thing, but I get a wreath and I decorate it with things, whatever is my mood. And sometimes I put other things on, and then I will just tie that little note onto the wreath, and then I hang it in my house. And then maybe for some reason, like this year, every year is different. And so this year I'm thinking about the fact that she gave me horseback riding lessons. So this year I'm going to tie my little horse ornament that comes, all the other ones are going to go on the regular family tree, but this is my special memory this year. And I'm going to tie that onto the wreath and decorate it and take it. And then we just hang it in the house, and I'll remember, her in a special way. And then the other thing that all of my elders have given me a ring, or one or another. So I wear my ring from my grandmother. I wear my ring during this time from my grandmother on my father's side, and then I wear my ring from my mother. So I've loaded up with these rings that I don't usually wear all the time, but when I remember them or I want to carry them with me, I put on those rings. And it's just my little way of connecting. And so everybody's way is going to be different, but you can find some kind of warm, fuzzy connection, as opposed to like, oh, it's just, it is sad. I'm not saying it's not sad. I even, I feel that welling up even now as I talk about it, but it's okay. It comes with you, and it's learning to live in a new way, with an absence that it's not like you have to get over the dead. You bring those
Right.
people who have passed along, or people who you miss, people who are far away from you in some kind of way, spiritually, physically, through ailments or through death. You bring them with you in kind of a new way. So, you're not letting go of them. It's,
Right.
we still carry them, and it's okay to carry them even if they're separated from you. And that's a really loving thing you can do for yourself. It's kind of how I see it, but that's what works for me. Everybody is different. And I know it's hard for some people to even, like, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't, as soon as we start talking about this, they'll jump to another thing. But it really does help to have, I think, some strategies when you're feeling a little blue.
I love the ring idea. I love the ornament idea. I rewrote myself that down for myself because I've known about that before, but we will do it. I actually have a sweater of my mother's that's a whole crazy Christmas sweater. In fact, at times my daughters have known I have it, and if they wanted to wear it like to a crazy Christmas sweater party or to a ugly, I said, no, that's Mama's Christmas sweater. I wear it still, seriously, on Christmas with my kids, and my granddaughter will have it for the first time this year. This is great grandmommy sweater. This is what we do. And it is that sort of thing that a lot of times my family will wear different things that people gave them during the holiday and explain what it is. So I love that idea.
Yeah.
Keeping them alive. You are keeping them alive in a totally different way.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So does anybody have any suggestions for holiday gift giving before we sign off? Anything that you want to share that's, a good gift for somebody to give to a caregiver or for a caregiver to give to somebody who has memory loss or anything like that?
Well, we want to avoid the safety issue things, which are things that are breakable, things that seem edible, things that we want to be careful that we're not giving them anything that would put them at risk. But I like to give to all of my clients, I give them a clementine and a chocolate. And I wish them health, and I wish them prosperity and joy through the chocolate. So that is my traditional gift to all of my clients. And I give them, I bought now up to like 3 boxes of clementines, and I ran out of candy canes, and sometimes we'll do a little candy cane, but it's just a little something that you can kind of hand out to everyone. That's really, it comes from many traditions. So thinking about family traditions that the person that you're trying to carry forward or you're trying to emulate, that's a really neat thing to bring into place too. What did they mean to me that I can share with the world?
Yeah.
Let me power that steam engine, right?
Yeah, that's super cool. You just reminded me when you said clementine. So my Aunt Margaret and Uncle Horace, they used to do the oranges and the clementines with the cloves in them, remember? And then they would wrap it in a place in like a little bit of gauze or something like that. And then we would tie a ribbon and we put it in the drawers so that the cloves would smell like orange and cloves. So
nice. Yes.
We do kind of the same thing. We make sachets and things with lavender but those, you just reminded me of that whole thing. So I'm going to have to pull that back out soon, but all right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to come back again to have another conversation. And I think we'll pick up on some of the safety tips next. So thank you so much for joining us today. And anybody, if you have questions,
thank you.
Come on, email us, call us, invite yourself to participate in the conversation here on this Zoom chat, and we'll definitely appreciate what you have to share. Thank you.
Thank you.